Hello everyone, and welcome back to the next part of this painting journey. In this video, you'll see the artwork take another important step forward as I begin developing the teapot and continue building the first layers of color across the composition. Here you can see me applying a thin glaze over the highlights I painted earlier. This helps integrate most of the reflections into the same atmosphere, allowing them to be influenced by the warm light of the candle. For the fabric, I have chosen to start by applying the highlights directly using white. Later on, I will build up the final color by applying various glazes and layers of paint over these initial layers. For this series of paintings, I have decided to give the white fabric a subtle greenish tint. I do not intend to suggest that the fabric is actually green. Rather, it is an artistic choice that, in my view, works particularly well with the Baroque atmosphere I am trying to create. In future works, if I include fabrics of other colors, I will paint them true to their actual color. However, for these white drapes, I prefer this approach, as it helps unify the mood and atmosphere of the composition. For the plate, I use the same range of colors as I did for the candlestick. The difference is that the plate is much more influenced by the light and colors of the objects resting on it. You'll notice this more clearly later in the process, when I begin bringing the bread and the oranges to life. Their colors and reflected light will gradually influence the surface of the plate, making it feel more natural and convincing. Around the edges of the plate, I begin refining its shape. The initial drawing only establishes the basic structure, so this is the stage where I often correct and adjust the forms to better capture the object I'm trying to represent. This is a relatively small painting, so working on details like these can be quite demanding and requires a great deal of precision. On a larger canvas, these areas are generally much easier to paint because there's more room to develop the forms comfortably. The teapot is my favorite object in this composition. In fact, it's often the centerpiece of my still lifes, which is why I like to include one in most of my paintings. It's also the richest object in terms of reflections. Because of its highly polished surface, everything around it influences its appearance. The colors and the overall approach are essentially the same as with the other objects, but the teapot requires many more bright highlights and subtle reflections to convey the look of polished metal. I'll leave you now to enjoy the rest of the video and the creation of this piece. As the painting progresses, there will still be color adjustments, additional glazes, and many more details to refine before every object is complete and the final varnish is applied. This painting will be exhibited in a group exhibition here in Amarillo, Texas, where it will remain on display for 1 month. Another of my earlier paintings will also be part of the exhibition. I'll be sharing that piece in future videos, although I didn't record its entire painting process. I hope you enjoy this episode. If you appreciate this kind of traditional fine art, I'd be delighted to have you follow my work and join the channel. Thank you very much for watching. Until next time, have a wonderful day.